All right. I think we are good to go. Got everything set up all right. Everything's looking good here. Uh,
Perfect.
I'm here with the excellent casters, Warning Track,
Hello.
and Taboshi.
Hi guys.
We got a pretty excellent lineup of 3 matches going today. And I got a nice typo in the match title card. Ignore that.
Shh. Why do you
No, wait.
say these things? People
Actually,
wouldn't
no,
know.
no. It's fine. It's. Actually, no. I think it's all right. Never mind.
Okay.
It's hard to tell with usernames sometimes, huh?
Yeah. Yep. No, yeah, it's good. It's just not something I'm used to saying. Okay, but anyway, the first match we got going on, we got DOWSEY versus Incnone. A very hyped match.
Oh
Two up
man.
until now undefeated players. Steph versus Marimo, one of the few copper matches we have had so far. One of two,
And I
actually.
and I believe Steph vs. Marimo was from week 1.
Yeah,
Correct.
this is the week 1 match, but we only have 2 matches to choose from copper, so you know.
It was a week 1 match that got played like a couple hours ago.
Yeah, yeah. It'll be a good match either way. And then Here's versus myself, which I can say was actually a pretty good match.
All right.
And all right, and we'll get going with picks and bans for our first player.
DOWSEY versus Incnone is going to be really interesting because yes, they are challenger players, but DOWSEY has been playing a frankly absurd amount of SpyParty.
Absolutely.
And Incnone has been around for a little while, and he's a pretty dang solid player.
Yes, that he is. All right, let's get going here. Picks and bans. We'll start with DOWSEY. He did oops, going. His first ban was Veranda.
Okay.
Very interesting. Veranda is one of those maps. Oops. Veranda's just one of those maps that people sometimes have a problem with. It's just one of those big maps. Oops, and my thing got all screwed up here.
Yeah. As a general rule, any map that tends towards extremes, large maps, tiny maps, those are the ones that are going to be banned or picked disproportionately.
Yeah.
This is true. Everyone seems to be comfortable on the mid-sized maps,
Yep.
the courtyards, the ballrooms, but things like veranda, things like balcony, things like library, people tend to get.
And speaking of
picked or
balcony,
banned.
balcony is the second map to be banned.
Not complaining. Balcony is hard to cast, guys.
Yep.
I have no issue with this. And how often do you see that, by the way? A map like Veranda on one side on the banned column and Balcony on the other.
Well, I can slight spoilers now. Balcony is banned in every match we're casting today.
All right.
So the first map that has been picked by Incnone is Gallery. Or no, this is DOWSEY. DOWSEY picked Gallery.
DOWSEY picks Gallery, yeah.
Which, that's actually, we've been noticing that that newer players tend to like Gallery more than older players.
They do, yeah. They seem to like the occlusion in particular, which is really the only, if you're going to like Gallery at all, that's pretty much what you're going to like.
I'm actually a big fan of Gallery myself, but I'm in the minority, I know.
No, I've come around on it, certainly. But it's more different than it looks like it's going to be when you see the layout. When you actually play it, you realize it plays very, very differently. It plays more differently than from a map like Courtyard, than even something like Veranda, which looks more different but feels more similar when you actually play it. Gallery is an animal unto itself.
Yep. Okay, now the next map to be picked for double is Courtyard. Not a huge surprise.
Nope, standard. So it's almost like a dare. It's like a staring contest. Who's gonna pick Courtyard?
Yeah, exactly. I've played that so far. I think every match I've been in. I don't think I've picked Courtyard once, but I've played it in every set.
Usually,
I know someone's gonna pick Courtyard. Who's it gonna be this time?
All right. So the next map to be picked by DOWSEY is Ballroom. Not a surprise, also.
Yeah, I mean, obviously it's a different type of occlusion than it is with gallery, but it feels very similar to play. And if you're good at one as spy, you're probably good at the other.
Yeah, I would agree. And the final map to be picked is library. Also been a very, very common map. We've seen it a lot, I'd say.
Yeah, and notice, by the way, I said this, I think in last week's cast, often if you see veranda banned on one side, you'll see library picked on the other, or vice versa, because, obviously every map is a little different, but they play fairly similar, or they tend to cater to the same kind of style. So if you ban one, your opponent's probably going to take advantage by picking the other.
Exactly. All right. I think we're ready to get going now. I'm going to bring us into the first map as soon as I...
Sounds good to me. Starting things out on the gallery. Incnone starting things off on the spy side. DOWSEY on the sniper. This is going to be fun.
Yep, we got... and I am ready to go.
All right, let's get this thing underway. In
Awesome.
3, 2, 1, playing it. All right, starting things off at blue bookcase. Didn't go for the early flirt, unusually enough, and just innocently puts the book away. So a bit of an unorthodox start, but now stepping in for the first flirt early on.
There's a very big psychological comfort level on gallery that you have to get used to, because you are on camera, so to speak, the whole time. Sometimes, especially when I was new to gallery, I found myself just unsure what to do at the beginning.
Early flirt nets us 34% on a close white.
And he's already highlight for it.
Yeah, this is not a great start, to be sure. No, the bug attempt. The ambassador stopped before we got there, so it didn't take, and we still got shot for it.
Yeah, that's just SpyParty, unfortunately.
That's really solid game planning there from DOWSEY.
Yeah.
Clearly looking for that slightly delayed flirt, noticing that looks like an early gallery flirt, highlighting him, making the bug that much easier to see.
Yep.
Indeed.
All right, moving on to the next one. We got DOWSEY as spy, as got Oprah going on here.
Sounds like a
All right,
plan.
and I'm ready to go.
In 3, 2, 1, playing it. Oh, teleport. Hello.
Don't think it was seen, but we'll find out, won't we?
Yeah, teleports are difficult to spot when they're coming at the camera in the time of chaos.
Yeah, and even harder to be sure you spotted them. It's not usually actionable intelligence, even if you think you've seen it.
DOWSEY starting things off with a close green flirt here in the back conversation for 51% off the top, and the reverse drive-by bug! It was the exact same thing as Incnone did, except better tucked away on the other side, so it was basically invisible. And it came off.
I think in the other game, the Ambo might have been standing at that pad in particular. Also, there was a lot of occlusion here. Orange Dress, for example, bending over and picking up the briefcase right in front. Just a lot of movement, a lot of cover, and it's basically free.
Well, in the other game, the ambassador was about to take the same path from the other direction and just stopped at the pad as soon as we right-clicked it. It was very sad.
Yeah, it's a little random sometimes. Just a lot of cover there. I really don't think that was seen at all.
85% after the timer flirt here. This is a very strong start from DOWSEY.
Yeah, obviously would have loved to have gotten that 2 flirt in, especially in a place like Gallery where flirt can seem in the bag and fall apart all at once. It's not like Ballroom where one more flirt is an easy thing to get necessarily.
This is
probably still going to be okay here though.
Wrote statue highlight. Gets a fingerprint off of it as well.
Yeah, and that gives DOWSEY some options. Obviously, you would really, really love to avoid that second statue visit on Gallery.
Although there is a print on it.
Yeah, that's the main benefit, I think, of that statue visit, and hopefully, I would hope that that's the reason for it.
So there is another print on a statue on the other side. Not that well, I guess. I mean, it's not that suspicious because it's the same set of statues.
Yeah, this is one time where you.
What's the ambassador been doing? She's just been running around touching all the statues.
Ambassador, very handsy today, yes. Now, at this point, what you really got to hope, you actually want the sniper to be on the ball here. You want them to remember that you can't be done with inspects here. If they're not sure which statue you were at, if they're really using those highlights to manage that memory completely and not thinking about anything else, you could be more suspicious even though you haven't finished your inspects.
Indeed. All right, we were waiting to see what the double agent was going to do, but he's been bouncing all over the place and winds up going back outside. DOWSEY was chasing him inward, and it looks like he has to turn around because of it.
And look at this. What did I say about that flirt? It's gallery after all, and you can't quite get that last 15%. 30 seconds left, and suddenly it's a problem.
Indeed it is. It looks like it's going to be the contact, hopefully right out into the flirt. Banana split, the shot comes off, and Incnone manages to salvage this game on the sniper side.
It's not much of a split when you have to white test it first. DOWSEY doing his best to try to make it like a split, and it's a valiant effort. I think that game just got away there. You know, you get that 15% flirt earlier. If you hit that green test, you're in a totally different position. Maybe you make a third statue visitor. You have a lot of options there. I think.
Take a quick look at that bug from the sniper's view.
Yeah, good call.
Yep, that is. I mean, you can see the head tilt, but
It's
you know, there's so much there. All right, let's move on to the next one now.
Like there were two people occluding the thing. It was so good.
Yeah, that's pretty tough. That's pretty tough. I think obviously the two shots, they both amount to losses for the spy, but they feel very different. One didn't feel close, the other felt like it got away.
All right, I'm ready to go.
In the next one, Incnone back on the spy side, hopefully for a longer game this time. DOWSEY on the sniper. In 3, 2, 1, playing it. Another early teleport. This one was a lot smaller, though.
They do happen disproportionately on gallery, yeah.
Starting things off at statues is an unusual decision.
Well, maybe if you plan early on to end up at statues with a late inspect swap, if you do want to do that, this is one of the characters you'd want to do it with.
Certainly a possibility, but that is such an early highlight to take.
Yeah, well, I think in most gallery games, you can assume you're going to have some company in that group. But if you don't, suddenly it's a big problem.
That is true. Early flirt for 51% coming right after the inspects as we step out to the front conversation. So even though we do have that early highlight, it's a fairly good start for Incnone.
It is. Obviously, the one map where flirt percentages hitting your greens on the flirt is most important is balcony, but a moderately close second, I would say, is gallery.
I would agree with that.
And Incnone here, I think, or Incnone, I'm not sure how to say it exactly.
I think it's Incnone.
I think so, yeah. Incnone obviously would love to just get this timer flirt and be done with it. Big risk, though, if the ST leaves.
Yeah. The 2 flirt would be really nice. There's the cooldown, and it's a white test on the next one. So we still up to 85. One more flirt will do it. But as we saw from DOWSEY, one more flirt is far from guaranteed on the gallery.
Yeah, DOWSEY did the exact same thing. It was a green flirt followed by a timer flirt white for exactly 85%. But DOWSEY had a bug that was invisible, whereas Incnone has part of an inspect done and has a highlight for it.
No completions at this point. 1 minute and 40 seconds left to play. Is in conversation with the double agent, so definitely looking to finish that contact right now.
It's not
there
great.
It is.
It's not great, but how often is it on gallery?
3 lowlights, it looks like, and a couple of false highlights. That's not too bad.
No, so the actual people out of conversation, I think there were more like 5. Oh, wow, makes a big decision there at the end. Look at that. Look at those lights coming off.
But look at the purloin as well.
Yep.
That's that hardtail done. So if we can finish with the flirt, we still need to go to statues for the last inspect unless we can find something else.
What's really interesting is that you look at on DOWSEY's side in particular, zooms out and almost looks frustrated with the fact that he couldn't lowlight everyone out front for a fake even. But then a few seconds later decides, you know what? I'm just going to bank on it. I'm going to say it was the big conversation in the back. Turns out to be the right choice.
That might have been for the purloin.
Yeah, I'm not sure. The timing was all jammed together, so it might have been. I think you're probably right, but it was kind of funny because you saw the zoom and then there's like this quick pause, almost out of frustration, like, oh, come on.
Yeah. Time at the front! That's so risky, but he's so low on time. It was a green test, so that beepin's going real slow now. But he can get so many lowlights in the back now. But he's not. Why are we going to bookcase? We don't have time for this.
Yeah, no idea. Like fingerprint, I mean, sure, but that's.
But we only have 45 seconds, though. Where's the second print coming from? Unless he has a plan for this already.
Yeah,
which
I mean,
might.
If you were finishing fingerprint, that's one thing.
Oh God! Safety's off.
All over it.
Seduce, but the shot comes off, and DOWSEY is not having it.
Yeah, that's a very impressive shot. Obviously, moderately confident in the purloin. Probably more likely than the fingerprint tracking. It wasn't going to matter, though.
He may have even been confident in the IMAD, too.
Yeah,
he didn't. I mean, he didn't react to it much, but he could have seen it.
Yeah. So what's funny is that I think it's one of those things where if you could see the party, if you could see what the sniper got from the banana bread, you might reconsider the purloin because suddenly it doesn't seem as necessary. You haven't given up many lowlights, as it turns out.
Right. I think he was just really feeling the pressure on the clock and felt like he had to do something. But what's done is done. Let's get into the next one. DOWSEY on the spy side. Incnone on the sniper, looking to split the gallery in 3, 2, 1, playing it. Not able to get a quick start, but certainly has the seduction target in his sights going forward. Oh, goes up for a race for the briefcase early on and gets it, but it was a little bit suspicious looking if you were looking for it, although I don't think Incnone was. Oh, and the low light for the good return as well!
Yeah, I'm going to say partially good return, but partially just the trouble of going to that return, walking all the way across the map, burning all that time on a map where, as we've seen, it's easy to run out.
And so early on as well. That was a very unspy-like start, so it could have been even just a behavioral low light, but either way, it's going to burn him.
Well, it will if DOWSEY doesn't have the same problem that Incnone just had with finishing missions. That's going to be the big question. Because remember, it's also a fingerprint too, so for all he knows, he's been high-lit for an early fingerprint. He won't necessarily be able to guess that he's been low-lit, and the low-lights are much less valuable when the spy doesn't have any particularly good reason to think they're low-lit. It's harder to exploit that advantage.
It is very valuable, but very much less so. As long as DOWSEY can finish his missions, he should be just fine, but you can tell from his movement, he thinks he's a lot more suspicious than he is.
Yeah, he might think he's high-lit. In fact, he might think he's a big suspect.
Second flirt as we return to the bookcase, up to 68% on 2 whites.
And we're getting into trouble here. There's about 90 seconds left. 2
half completions.
Yeah. Decent progress, though.
DOWSEY's playing this so ridiculously cautiously. This could be bad.
Yeah, at this point, it looks like his best option is a civilian shot with all these highlights, but I don't think they're cooperating. They're mostly just hanging out in that conversation, not really moving around.
Might just wind up being a late rush. It could work if you can make it happen, but it's tricky. This has to be green, and it's not! It's only 96%! I think now we have to bank on a frame, which means we need to hit the contact really soon.
Which means the suspect double agent needs to come into that conversation, which they just have. You want to frame someone in that big full conversation, which has multiple highlights in it.
But the shot comes off without any prompting, and we finally have a spy win on the board. Incnone is going to be kicking himself for that one.
Yeah, that's a tough one. Basically gave it away, certainly. But understandably, you know, I mean, I can't argue with the behavioral lowlight. I can argue with the concept of behavioral lowlight sometimes. But the logic is sound, obviously. Why would a spy do that? And when you say, why would a spy do that? You'd say, well, they're wasting time. Why is it important that they might waste time? Because they won't be able to finish missions. Well, guess what? That's exactly true. DOWSEY was not going to finish missions from the looks of things.
Sir, tell that to Drawn Onward. All right, let's get into the next one here.
Right, I'm good to go.
We have got a 3-1 scoreline in DOWSEY's favor after the gallery. Next up on the list is, I believe, Incnone's pick, Courtyard. In 3, 2, 1, playing it. And if you're not too comfortable on gallery, at least you're comfortable here, because everyone's comfortable here. Starting things out with a quick green time ad at the windows, so it was in the sniper's face, but you've got so much to look at so early in the game. Most people are not going to catch an early time ad like that unless they've been burned by it before. Second thing they do is a fingerprint. This is a neat start. I like this. Didn't get too far behind the Ambassador on the return, but it still looked fine. Stepping in just now for the first flirt after we've got the time ad and the fingerprint. Flirt winds up at a close green for 51%. This is an amazing start for Incnone.
Yeah, you can't really ask for too much more than this. You've gotten away with quite a bit already, but we've already seen some time management problems. And, it's easy for that time ad to fade into nothing.
This is very true, but so far, Incnone hasn't really been idling too much until just now. He's got a bit of time to do it with after that early time ad, so if we can find a win here without going to statues or without hitting the hardtail, those are the two big things you want to hit. And gets low lit for inactivity.
Yep, that is a big one. That's a really big one.
I mean, I can only assume that's for inactivity. I can't think what else it would be. That's 2 games in a row now where the spies have been low light. But we might... Now the only thing we have to worry about is time woes. But look at this! There was supposed to be a flirt, wound up being a bug attempt, which didn't take. But we're low lit. And it was in a really weird spot, so there's no way that's going to get noticed. The contact comes off, so that's done. The flirt comes off for 85%. So we are starting to eliminate our time troubles here. We don't have that hardtail done yet, but with 1:20 left to play, we're not really behind the curve anymore.
Yeah, decent position here, and obviously with a low light, there's a lot more going on in terms of options. You don't necessarily know.
My God, this has been a weird game. I'm a little bit surprised Incnone didn't follow the seduction target to statues there. That would have been 2 more completions on the board.
Yeah, inactivity has been the name of the game for the most part.
Oh, is he going to frame his seduction target for the green swap? No, he's not. He was going for the difficult print on it.
Yeah, both made sense as they approached, but this is the more cautious approach for sure.
Hits the fingerprint.
That's a big one, a difficult.
That's huge. Now all he needs is this 1 more flirt, and that's gonna be it. Let's
see where the SST goes. You don't want to chase. You don't want that briefcase.
Who called it in the chat? Someone called it.
Yep.
Veery in the chat called it. The ST was going to die.
Yep. So I was watching part of this match at the time, and I talked to DOWSEY about it a little bit, and they're actually confirming this in chat anyway, so that's going to step on the anecdote a little, but that's okay. The low light was for briefcase interaction. Incnone had not interacted with the briefcase at any point in the previous 2 matches. Amusingly, Incnone saying in chat, also, that's why I did it this game, because I noticed I hadn't been doing it. So that is Yomi at its best right there. Both of them studying each other, studying themselves. Incnone saying, I probably should do this so it doesn't become a habit. DOWSEY saying, hey, that sure looks like a habit.
Yeah.
And it's a tough loss, too, because DOWSEY was coming into this with a 3-1 lead and looked pretty comfortable. Both of the sniper shots before, I'll point out, well before the spy was done finishing. Not close at all, but kind of gives us one away here a little bit, and suddenly it's a match again.
Yeah. And keep in mind, generally speaking, SpyParty is just a little bit sniper favored. So you'd much rather been fighting for a draw on the sniper side than on the spy side, which is now the position that DOWSEY is in, trying to keep his lead, but on the spy side to do it in 3, 2, 1, playing it.
Yeah, once again, a perfectly understandable behavioral lowlight, but I just think DOWSEY's looked so good on the sniper side that you really don't need them at this point, especially on a map like Courtyard. I think you can play it totally straight without any advantages from those behavioral lowlights and probably still win.
Keep in mind, those behavioral lowlights might be one of the reasons he's doing so well on the sniper.
Yeah, it could be. It could be. I think in the first 2 games, I didn't see too many coming off, though. It was mostly just really pouncing on things like purloins and banana bread. But
early fingerprint coming off from DOWSEY here. It might go back to that statue to finish it up real fast. That would be a huge start.
Yeah, it's always a question. Do you want to do the fingerprints bang, bang like that? You know, do you want to space them out? Do you want to do one early and one late? You can make an argument for any combination, really.
Well, it looks like he's giving it at least a little bit of time. Second flirt comes off. It's a green test, but he wasn't able to get in close enough. The conversation was just too full. So it is 96%. That fingerprint is still hot on that statue.
Yeah, so we do say often that fingerprints on drinks are the hardest to track, and that's true. But sometimes, if a fingerprint lingers on a statue for a long time, that is actually much, much harder. At least with the drinks, you have this little timer in the back of your head, the same way you do with briefcase and things like that, where if someone hasn't interacted for a while, you know it's safe. Very easy if it goes on for 45, 50 seconds, which it can on Courtyard for sure, to forget that that's there.
Well, unfortunately, the double agent smeared their hands all over it, so now it's difficult. But
I think it's probably still worth trying, given that you got to do the inspects anyway.
Might well be. Minute and 30 left to play. Now's about the time when you go to statues. So either you try it now, or you pay a whole lot of attention to the ambassador going forward.
If you're thinking about doing it at all, do it earlier so that if you don't hit it, you can plan accordingly. And I'd rather flirt last rather than do the fingerprint inspect last.
Absolutely agreed. But he is going to chase the seduction target in the conversation to finish up that flirt. Minute and 5 left to play. That difficult fingerprint is still there on the right statue on your screen.
Yeah, but let's not forget, by the way, that's not actually a completion because the banana bread still hasn't come off too. Normally by now it has.
This is true. Here's the contact coming off. It is a white test, so there's a bit of a delay.
Banana bread.
That's off one extra low light than would have been had otherwise. And apparently that's the only low light that gets picked up.
Yeah,
despite
missed hair.
others being available.
Queen being very helpful going to statues right after a banana bread with 35 seconds left. That is such a spy move right there.
Oh, DOWSEY, what are you doing?
Banana bread.
Really does not want to go to statues.
Another contact to cover for the fingerprint, I think. I don't think you realized that statue fingerprint was still there. Does finish the fingerprint, goes into the statues to finish this up. It's gonna be overtime, though.
That's the problem. That's the issue right here. It's a decent move if you do it 6 or 7 seconds earlier, but we're gonna get overtime now, and Incnone is just staring at this side of the map.
Gets highlight, gets shot for overtime. Oh man.
Yeah, I think that is literally so. Sometimes spy will burn 20 or 30 seconds idling, and you know, obviously, in retrospect, you can say that's a mistake. In this case, look at how small the margins are. A few seconds earlier, even 6 seconds to be exact. If you do this a little earlier, I think if you go to statues earlier and do maybe the banana bread and the flirt afterwards, much better chance.
If that first contact takes as well, that would be a big help.
Yeah, looking at the log right now, it's yeah. There's basically it's the double agent left at 47.8. Banana bread was uttered at 48. So there was like this couple tenths of a second where it hadn't activated yet, and unfortunately, SpyParty happened to it.
Yeah, it got all SpyPartied. That's kind of a bummer. But I feel like the decisions about what missions to do were pretty much spot on, but I think the order they were done was just a little off.
Yeah, I would agree with that. All right, but we're all tied up at 3 now, with Incnone stepping back into the spy side. This is Incnone's map, so he probably feels good that it's going his way so far. Let's see if that continues. In 3, 2, 1, playing it.
Yeah, all tied up after that early 3-1 lead. So far, yeah, both players looking very happy with their map choices.
Starting things off with the early flirt.
And I want to see what the behavioral lowlights look like this game after they lost the last one.
Nice close green for 51%. So a fairly standard start for Incnone so far. Not moving too quickly, getting that early flirt in. Nothing exceptional going on except for a little bit of unnecessary idling after the fact. But he has been gifted a behavior low light before. He might be gunning for another here.
I think so, yeah. Just going to keep it simple. Just get the flirt done quick and easy. Now, once again, 85%. There's that number again.
We've been seeing that a whole lot tonight. First flirt green, second flirt white.
And, it seemed like a decent start, but, you wait for a timer flirt, you chase them, you get a white set of a green, and now you look up, and there's, 100 seconds left on the clock, and no mission's done.
Oh! Double walking bug attempted. Doesn't wind up taking, and it was caught.
Yeah, that's, oof. Funny thing is, I'm looking at the replay, it's not that visible, by which I mean it's not one of those things where you can see them facing the camera dead on with the arm extended. It's more in profile, but it almost looks baited. I think DOWSEY clearly looking for that bug.
I think he may have been. It took him a few moments to decide whether or not he wanted to take that shot, but eventually he did. And now DOWSEY has a chance to get his lead back coming out of the courtyard. Incnone on the preferred side, though, especially on this map. In 3, 2, 1, playing it.
A chance to regain that advantage that was lost after Gallery. Big game right here.
DOWSEY once again with the basic start, the early flirt. This time it's not a green to start things off. It's just a white for 34%.
I'm sure the next one will be, though. We'll get to 85, don't worry.
Wouldn't that be funny?
Not for DOWSEY. Oh, I guess DOWSEY would prefer it at this point, at least. But just
Yeah.
See these things. They don't seem very big, but both the spies have showing a little bit of issue with the time management. Just a little hesitancy out there. Getting the flirt done earlier might really help pick your moments with the hardtails.
Yeah. And especially for people who are new to competition, who haven't done this a whole lot, it is the tendency to play slower in a competitive setting is so real.
We've seen this across all experience levels in almost all competitive SpyParty. 9 times out of 10, you just lop 20% off the aggression of the spy, especially when they're new to it in competitive play.
Timer flirt white on the second one, only 68%. A nice snuggly white will still notice a 3 flirt, but it's not the position you want to be in necessarily. Might be able to get a bug on the way out here if we can catch Incnone on a bad rotation, but Incnone doesn't really get caught on a bad rotation usually.
No, and you can see that there's sort of a center of the rotation. There's plenty of rotation, but it hasn't gone all the way around. The reason it hasn't gone all the way around is because the ambassador is at the center of it, never going too far from the ambassador.
Wanted the contact there, but the double agent not cooperating. And now time management is a huge issue for DOWSEY. We've got those 2 flirts and absolutely nothing else with only 1 minute left on the clock. There's the last flirt for our first completion.
It's not as bad as it looks.
This is tough.
It is. Only a minute left. It's not as bad as it looks because you could get banana bread quick, and there's a couple places where you could rush missions. You could purloin into inspect. You could inspect swap. But you do need to get that banana bread done soon.
Ooh, a little bit of twitch into the center of conversation there. That was unusual. White test purloin. Oh boy. It's on the other side.
Rotation.
There now he sees it, but does he know where it came from? He does.
Wow. So that's interesting. When I mentioned earlier that the ambassador seemed to be the focus of the rotation, obviously, if you're the spy and you notice this, what you want to do is you want to wait for a time where the ambassador is hogging the attention on one side and you go for something like a purloin on the other. In this case, I like the decision. I just think it was just a little off. Obviously, you hit the green test, totally different there. I also would be interested to know whether or not Incnone was positive about that shot. Did not see the fade, had to come back around, and General jammed between 2 other people. So in those situations, if you are rotating and people are close together, even if you're looking right at it, sometimes it can be hard to tell exactly who did the rejecting. So I'm wondering if that was, particularly confident, given that there wasn't a whole lot else going on.
Yeah, I'm really surprised about how that went down because DOWSEY wasn't even highlight at that point. It looks like Toby could very easily have been coming from Duke, but just takes the shot, like, without even worry of a green test.
Yeah, so either saw something else earlier and was staring him down, or just kind of figured this is my best option. But it does feel like one of those 60 to 70% shots rather than the kind of 100% shot we've seen a couple times already tonight.
Either that or laser lag did weird stuff with the replay. But either way, it's 4-4 now. DOWSEY going 3-1 on his map pick. Incnone going 3-1 on theirs. And now we step into the ballroom. Incnone on the spy side, DOWSEY on the sniper. In 3, 2, 1, playing it.
I think if you're DOWSEY at this point, you're kind of frustrated. Some of these sniper games have been quick. You've shot them early and easily. And some of the spy games, you've actually come pretty darn close to finishing or even gotten away with some hardtails, and yet you're all knotted up.
Yeah. I think for a lot of this, it really is largely a time management issue. We've been getting these early flirts off pretty consistently. Hello, Ambassador. Probably not going to stick around because the seduction target's there, which is unfortunate. Great opportunity for a reverse drive, but what the heck path was that by the Ambassador out of conversation? He was trying so hard to get bugged.
That's actually really good restraint on Incnone's part. It seems like a good bug, but there actually was not nearly as much occlusion as you usually have in that spot. The entire front side of that conversation wide open, and the conversation a little closer to the pillar wasn't there to provide anything either. Toby wasn't around. There were actually just 2 or 3 people in the back. That's actually not a lot of cover.
Incnone looks like he's stepping in, getting ready for a contact here. 2 minutes and 25 left on the clock. Being really patient in these conversations. Green test on the contact just after he finishes his talking animation. So a little bit dangerous on a possible double talk, but against super behaviorist people, that was a word, I promise, that might get you low light.
I think there were maybe 4 possible lowlights, definitely at least 3. 2 of them came off. DOWSEY maybe being a little more conservative with the lowlights after that earlier game.
Minute and 50 left to play. Only the 1 completion and the 1 flirt. So another slow game on the spy side as we step in for the second seduction.
Yeah, just inching that seduction meter along throughout the game. That's what Ballroom ends up being so often.
Now we hit a green test this time, so we're back to 85.
It's the number of the night, isn't it?
We missed it once. We're not missing it again. Stepping in for a fingerprint off of the briefcase here. Oh, that was not a great return. You want to, like, even if it's a bit awkward in that position, I think you've got to get in behind the Ambassador. I don't think an AI will do something like that.
Yeah, I mean, obviously, it's not something that's necessarily going to get you shot, even against someone who pays a lot of attention to that. But I agree, not an ideal briefcase.
Okay, apparently he did something bad. I don't know what, but Incnone wins the game on the spy side.
I'm gonna rewind that real quick to see.
Walt went to statues a second time. He went to both side statues on the far left. He went very early in the game and then again late. And let's see, was shot about 5, 6 seconds after leaving.
I guess he just decided that it was suspicious enough. I don't see anything other than the statue that he had done right at the end there. But
might have been a couple of possible fingerprints earlier on in the match, and they felt like it was a shot he had to take.
In addition to the statues, he talked almost immediately after the banana bread in, I believe, the same conversation as well. And he was much more visible. His back was facing to the sniper. He was already highlighted at that point, I believe. So that makes sense to me. What's interesting is that he's actually taking a drink right into the banana bread and talks immediately after. But by then, I think that's when DOWSEY's looking. So he sees a white talker banana bread, 2 statue visits, and it's hard not to credit the fingerprints or the bugs sometimes.
This is very true. Either way, Incnone steps out in front. DOWSEY, again, looking to tie from the spy side. It's not where you want to be. Let's see if you can make it happen in 3, 2, 1, playing it.
Now, there aren't too many other maps I'd want to be spying on for my survival than Ballroom, but I'd still rather be sniping.
Well, balcony.
Yeah, that's why I say too many. That's the only one I'd consider. Yeah.
Slow start from DOWSEY, innocent conversation to an innocent window pad. No time adds or anything like that before we step in to another innocent. What are you doing, DOWSEY? I'm confused.
Well, just idling.
So much movement. If you're gonna idle, at least idle in conversation with the seduction target.
Yeah, true.
Difficult fingerprint. Doesn't hit it. Talking in conversation with the... Oh god, DOWSEY's all falling apart. What's happening, man?
Oh boy, that was close. We're good.
Everything's fine.
Everything's fine.
It's fine. It's fine. We're way behind the curve on the time, but we're okay.
I'd like to suggest that we replace "Oh God, the Pathing" with "It's fine." I think "We're fine" is the new one.
Yep.
Which, funny because it's usually yelled.
Yeah.
Which would seem to indicate that things are not fine.
Right. So, in conversation next to the seduction target, picks up a contact while we're here for 34%. 1 low light, 2 low lights, 3 low lights, 4 low lights, one of which was a highlight.
That's a big one. Oh boy, yeah, that's pretty bad. And now there's almost nothing else to watch. And at this point, you're in big trouble.
Gets a fingerprint from the drink, which is pretty good.
It's something, but it's not the second one. And look at how small this party is now.
Yeah. 34% on the flirt. Contact is done. 1 fingerprint. That's all we have with 1 minute and 30 left to play. This is not looking great.
You know what happens at the end of a real party? The lights go out. Look at all these low lights. And it's just about time, I think, for DOWSEY to go home, unfortunately.
Oh boy, it's real spooky. Timer flirt, another white test up to 68%. Center statues now.
Yep. And think about how different this game would look if those were green flirts. If 2 missions were done and you could at least theoretically inspect swap or purloin into inspect, the fact that you still got that 68% really limits your options. You can't swap here and walk away.
This real spooky, man. And Incnone is zeroed in on that statue, waiting for a swap that never came, but certainly knows DOWSEY's been the statue now.
You're not dead yet, though. That's something.
Yeah, and not even highlights, so not highlighting for statues, I guess. Second fingerprint, another briefcase.
Well,
that's 2 briefcases we've done so far.
A lot of other people have been highlight for statues. Sometimes that makes me suspicious. Sometimes that makes me think I'm not going to highlight this person because I'm already staring at them. So why bother?
Oh, that's a nice little find at the windows there.
Ooh,
Can
wow.
Incnone get it done? Doesn't look like it's going to take the shot, and DOWSEY manages to somehow salvage this game.
Excellent game. Just played it cool there. Didn't rush the inspect swap late, even with the flirt not done. At that, if you just showed someone a screenshot of about 1 minute left, when you saw how many lowlights there were, how little was done, you'd think, no way. Let's say 90% probably for the sniper to win this game, if not more. But DOWSEY just stays calm, does missions. I like the decision to do inspect at that point, and I like the decision to not do the panicky thing and try to green swap it.
Yeah. And now, we are tied up at 5. Going into the final map, and in this case, the final map is the land of shenanigans. It's library.
That's you're going to see a lot of crazy, I assume, because there's a lot of cover. Crazy cover means crazy, basically, in SpyParty. If you're DOWSEY at this point, you went from having a 3-1 lead, and now you're all knotted up. But it could have been worse, because a second ago, you needed a spy win badly, and you got it.
All right. So, this map, sniper can only see 1/3 of the map at a time, and the spy can see where the sniper's looking, so he can get away with a lot of craziness in the interim. Let's see if we find any craziness this time, as Incnone steps into the spy role in 3, 2, 1, playing it.
Let's see if we can get any craziness from the character some call Crazy Eyes, due to an early beta bug where her eyes bulged out of her skull, which I witnessed firsthand.
A lot of other folks just call her Mom.
I am not one of them. I will fight that to the death, but I can appreciate that other people think she looks like someone's mom.
Slow start from Incnone, which is unusual on this map.
Yeah, there's usually just no reason to do it, to go slowly here. They've been aggressive with the flirt already, but on library,
red.
usually you can ramp that up even more.
Early
Lot of
contact
lowlights.
coming off, so many lowlights. It's not something you usually want to do early on this map because of the amount of lowlights it can give off.
And that was particularly rough because the sniper was already looking at a portion of the screen where 4 people immediately in front of them were all out of conversation. So they were high quality lowlights. They were aggressive and quick. Didn't get any others on top of that, so it wasn't an incredible set of lowlights, but you still got a good 4 to 5, and you got them with high confidence on library. That's pretty good.
Pulls out a blue book and heads to the other side of the map with it. This is a pretty classic spy play. Pretending, no, the book totally came from over here. Don't worry. This is normal.
Yep.
Well, it came from green. I promise it came from green. Early flirt. Well, not too early to flirt, but it is 51%. Another thing I'd like to highlight about this map is that those back-facing windows you can time at.
Yeah, just that one. There's one little secret window off to the left, and you can even sort of hide behind the pillar a little bit. Kind of evil, really.
See? It came from green. I told you it came from green. This is a green book, sniper. This is a very classic spy play. You pull a book out and you get seen walking across the map with it away from the center. Then you bring it back to the center to make it look like that's where it came from. But DOWSEY doesn't know where it came from, so highlights Incnone for it. Second flirt comes off up to 85% now. Still 1:40 to play with 2 completions, one of which is a hard tell, and most of the flirt done.
Yeah, this is a pretty decent spot to be in. 90 seconds isn't a ton, but this is one of the easiest maps to get away with time on, too.
Partially because of the aforementioned back windows. All right, so there's the flirt being finished up. That's our 3rd completion. We need 2 more in 1:15.
Actually, a lot of options here. A lot of options. Oh, that path is not
It might be an inspect swap.
Yeah, it really might be. You got to hit some of these greens, though. You don't want to cycle 3 times here. 2 greens. You're going to have a chance at the swap if you want to do it, but DOWSEY is whipping back and forth. It's clearly waiting for it. There it is.
Oh, there it is.
Can't see it.
Covering it. You can't see it. Now he just has to stand there. There's no shot going to be taken. Incnone plays it perfectly. Crazy Kaylee's favorite strategy works out swimmingly for Incnone. And he has put himself on match point, guaranteed himself at least a draw.
If we can take a look at that swap right when it goes off, look what happens. Now, what you don't want if you're the sniper is for them to do one of those idle animations after they swap where they don't actually move the statue off to the side. In this case, there is a motion with the statue, but look what it is. Look at those big shoulder pads blocking the switch to the left. DOWSEY, to be fair, does not zoom or try to angle or anything like that. But still, even though the character does hold the statue to the left, still not visible from DOWSEY's default angle there.
All right. So, DOWSEY needs this game, fighting for a draw right now. Incnone has a chance to get the full win.
Yeah, that's
3,
pretty rough.
2, 1, playing it.
That is just a rough loss. Clearly was on it.
Yeah.
And really thinking about shooting after, shooting a little aggressively earlier. And boy, even got the statue's animation to the side and everything, and it just wasn't quite visible.
Just wasn't confident, just wasn't scared enough about it to try leaning to really look for that swap. Didn't freak him out enough to take it anyways.
Yeah,
DOWSEY starting things off with an early fingerprint, and this is so hard to track on this map.
Yeah, you can track it, but you're gonna miss something else. Stuff you maybe were gonna miss anyway, even if you were looking for it. A lot of missions on this map you're gonna get if you're patient and diligent about it. It's just a question of getting them quickly enough that you don't run out of time.
Kind of like Modern in that sense.
Yes, absolutely. I mean, basically, if you said, your life depends on just getting a bug, you just go stand next to the ambassador a few times and you do an in-convo bug when they whip around, and maybe they'll come back. But, if you're willing to put in that time and try a few times and wait for a good moment, you're almost certainly going to get it.
That flirt at Windows was beautiful. Not too close, because that can be suspicious at Windows, but close enough, just barely, to hit 49% on the green test, which means we're still in 2-flirt range.
Yeah, that's big. Perfectly put. You want to be as far away as possible, but still get to 49. That was it.
All right, could definitely get a crash bug if we time the leave properly, but we do not. Slow start from DOWSEY here. Only 2 minutes and 10 left to play, not a single completion.
Bug attempt does not take.
Indeed. Stepping in now, hoping to finish up this flirt in 2. Let's see if that beautiful early one pays off.
Yeah, if it doesn't, it was all for naught.
Can't quite get it. It's 83. We're still in range, so that even on the worst possible flirt, we will still complete the mission. But oh, inside statue? I don't agree with that decision at all. We just don't have the time for this.
Yeah, that's a good way to look at it. Normally, it'd be a perfectly reasonable decision, but not when you're struggling to finish here, unless you still want to frame. But if you still want to frame, why go at all?
Oh, I see what it was. It wanted to get just the little bit of progress while we waited for the flirt timer to cool down. But the seduction target bails on us at the last moment. This is a really bad situation for DOWSEY. Only 1 minute and 10 left and still no completions.
And you need a little more activity from the party here. There's still plenty of suspects. There are not many lowlights here. There's a fair number of highlights. There's still a decent chance a civilian shot could come off, but
Banana bread.
you need to time the banana bread very well.
Fake contact here. I think DOWSEY knows this almost has to be a wrong shot, but goes for the green time ad, strangely enough.
I think it makes sense. This is the kind of map where you can do that. Give the AIs a chance to go to statues a couple more times, pick up a couple more possible fingerprints.
Oh my god, what a shot!
Wow.
What a shot! Are you kidding me?
Yeah.
Probably caught caught the time ad, I guess.
Yeah, well, the thing I'm actually, I was watching some of this match. The thing that you'll see at around, when he does that fake BB at around 106, he does, this is all in full view of the sniper.
Yes.
It's a little bit later. He does the BB, and then he stops talking, and then he leaves. And like the ambassador is the only other person in there. The ambassador is not talking, so there's no reason for the stop talk or the leave. So
at that point, he's all over it. Yeah.
Because I don't even know if because it takes a few seconds for the green time ad to affect the sniper's view, and I don't think it even got that far.
Yeah.
Looks like it did.
Maybe.
Yeah. I think just barely, I would say. And at that point, clearly staring it down. Those are some of the most demoralizing spy losses, is when you do very little and still get shot.
But demoralizing doesn't matter when it's the last game of the set and Incnone takes it 7-5. What a game.
Yeah, that's a heck of a win. It's a heck of a win.
All right, so I'm gonna spend a few